Ōpihi Whanaungakore and Te Umuhika. Yeah, so Te Umuhika, we're going to drive past that when we go down to Braemar Springs. Because we're going to go down Braemar Road, which goes past Te Umuhika.
So this is the Tarawera River?
So this is, well, this is kind of part of the Tarawera River. This is Te Awa, Te Atua.
Okay,
so
nice.
Calvin will, Calvin will tell us about this. That's what he's here for. No.
Okay, to point. You guys are more than welcome to carry on and enjoy your childhood. Well, kia ora whānau. So we're here at our first stop. This area here is Mataatua, where originally our stronghold was for Te Rangihouhiri, for our people. This area here was a part of Te Awa Te Atua, or the river. Unfortunately, the river has been straightened. The river mouth is actually down further, just out of the township. But this area here used to be a part of it. Now, Te Awa Te Atua, Tarawera River, we had two other rivers. We have two other rivers as well. So the three, we have Te Awa Te Atua or Tarawera, we have Te Rangitaiki, and then we have the Whakatāne River. Now, they were all tied together by another river called Te Orini, and that is around the back where Te Rangihouhiri is situated today. Now, the people were connected by that river, so the people from Whakatāne could make their way here and do trade and visit their relations just through that river system. So a lot of this land that we've been driving around was all mudflats with little islands. So it was all wetlands, and it has been drained for farming. So that's pretty much the main story. So how the river got its name. I will be sharing about the arrival of the Mataatua waka, the waka that our ancestors came from. But just for context, Wairaka was a young wahine, and she was the captain of the waka's daughter. His name was Toroa, and his daughter's name was Wairaka. Okay, so it was here at this awa when she had her first menstrual cycle, which tells us that she was young when she first came here, which tells us when she done the feat, e kia whakatāne, au I ahau, let me act as a man, she was only very young. Okay, she the toto ran from her legs into the awa, and then she said, "Oh Dad, what's this?" "Oh, Te Awa Te Atua, the blood of the gods." And that's why this place is so significant for us. It marks that event. Kapoi. Up ahead here, whakapau korero, and it goes right down. What'd you say? Manawahi Range? White Rangers. Yep. So this was our rangatiras. This was our maunga. So when we do our pepeha, if you guys are learning your pepeha, you might say ko whakapau korero tōku maunga, ko te awa te atua tōku awa. That's something everyone here can put in the pepeha. Okay. Generally around here we revert back to Pūtauaki, so we'll go ko Pūtauaki te maunga, ko Whakatāne te awa. That's just a generalisation, but if you want to be technical and bring it right back to your hapu or your family bloodline, that's something that you can say.
Yeah, I think we were told, what I've been taught is that outside of this rohe, we would say ko Pūtauaki te maunga, ko Tarawera te awa, but when we're inside our rohe, we would say ko whakapau korero te maunga. Just, I guess, how hokapu do, eh? They say ko Kapu-te-rangi te maunga. So Kapu-te-rangi, we're going to go up there later. They'll do that. Yeah. It's just to then really place ourselves. Yeah.
So Te Rangihouhiri II, his namesake, or his grandfather's brother, his karawa, he lived up here in his time, Te Rangihouhiri I. He was a great man in a bit of a warring campaign. He was very much a fighting chief. Matter of fact, he fought his way from Te Raupumara, which is down on the coast. He was causing so much trouble down there that they kind of tried to exile him, and so he made his way back up here, fighting up here. and he ended up here. And then he decided, I think I'm going to take my people and we'll go to Tauranga and conquer Mauao. And that's how you get Ngai Te Rangi. So Ngai Te Rangi and Te Rangihouhiri are two different people, but one and the same, evidently, because of the namesake. You may have heard the ngeri that we performed for you guys, that we done for you guys as our tautoko yesterday. Yeah, that is known as Te Tangi a Tamapahori, so the lament of Tamapahori. And it describes that event when Te Rangihouhiri, that the moteatea is about how when Te Rangihouhiri II, when he came into his time to be a chief, he needed inspiration. So he went to seek counsel from his grandfather, Tamapahori, and he lived in Otitapu, a past site that belonged to us. And Tamapahori told him all the great feats about his namesake, Te Rangihouhiri I, and he said, I'll take you around all the battle sites. And so he did. He took him around all the battle sites from here all the way to Tauranga, and then introduced him to his whānau that still occupied these battle areas that were conquered. Yeah. And then so that gave Te Rangihouhiri the inspiration, and his fire was lit from that. Knowing where he came from, knowing the name that he carried, that's how he became the great chief that he was. And up there's a line that he ignited the great spark of that, yep, of Tamate Kapua as well. And it was said and yesterday I was crack up too about Hikakino, his father, how his wife's parents didn't really want them to marry. Well, he was a little bit lazy. That's what was said in the moteatea. But however, he sung to his son, he would sing the praises of his namesake as he was a child as well, telling him how great of a man that this fellow was, not himself, his namesake. Anyway, that's that. I'll stop talking now and you guys can just take in the ahu of the Whenua. Kia ora.
Yeah.
You can see that. Yeah, these are the. Right here on
in the painting, it's kind of got no.
These are the cliffs. So he must have been standing. Hey, somewhere where we are.
Yeah.
There you go.
Where he's like this.
So
it's right there.
Lane was
Yeah.
saying
Yeah, he was
that
talking about that
Ōhinemataroa,
yesterday.
That stands. That used to be
I'll show you.
Te Rangitaku. So when Calvin was talking about his korero being kidnapped and taken up north, well, around a similar time, Te Ringaono was also kidnapped. You might have seen a news article. So if you've ever Googled her, you'll see a news article about Te Ringaono being kidnapped by some ho-hos. That's what they call them, ho-ho Maoris or ho-ho natives. And so she was kidnapped and from Puke-maire, so the pa was raided and she was kidnapped and taken, and a guy called Hans Tepsel, so Hans Tepsel was like a boat builder, and our korero George White, he worked for him and with him. So he ransomed Te Ringaono back from these ngapuhi, and in return Te Rangitākina allowed him to buy the land between Te Awa, Te Atua and the Moana. So that's some of this area. We can't say for certain because when the settlers decided they were going to take over all this land, they pumped concrete and all sorts of shit in here, eh? Sorry if you're a video, it's the way I talk, but yeah, they pumped a hole here because they were trying to drain the land and kind of, and like Calvin said, they straightened the rivers and stuff to suit their farming needs. So here, like, you'll see the water used to come all the way up at some point because we've been, there's all sorts of different photos of this area. But yeah, Te Rangitākina allowed Tepsel to buy the land between Te Awa, Te Atua and the Moana for ransom and getting Te Ringaono back. Yeah. So you can find that newspaper article when you Google. Yeah, if you Google her name, a lot of that will come up. Yeah. So I don't know who owns it now, but the Tepsel's whānau is really huge. Like you might have actually seen, is it Tania Tepsel? She's the mayor of Rotorua now. So Tapsel ended up going over to Rotorua and living on Mokoia Island, and he married a chief's daughter from there. And they have many, many descendants now.
Is that an island, that one?
Well, yeah, you can drive over there.
The beach is on the other side. It's like a spit. Yeah.
Oh, alright.
There's a camp over there.
Yeah, it's camping ground.
Yeah,
Walkways.
yeah. It looks different than it would have back in the day, yeah.
And actually have funds to pay the tribes that help them to come down and kind of beat us up. So in lieu of payment, they divvied up the land and put them in parcels. Yeah, and then that was the payment for your service to, yeah. So that's how these guys got up here. And then a lot of the back there, the farmers, there was a thing called the ballot box where they were given an allotment. Yeah, so you just pull a number up. Oh, okay, I've won this lot. And then go move your family there and set your farm up. Yeah, and then we got pushed to our whānau, Taiwhakaea. So that's what Lane was saying, that we're actually not tangata whenua of that area, but we do have mana whenua, so the tangata whenua Taiwhakaea. So they corralled all three of us together, all three families, Te Rangihouhiri, Taiwhakaea and Hikakino. At one time, all the wharenuis was in a space. And how Trini was saying, there was floods. This place floods, it's common for it. And there was a big flood, and then all the wharenui were split. And that's how they all lie where they are today, even Rangihouhiri. Yeah. Yeah, so that's the story. So
Yeah. Are we ready to move on? Okay, cool. Well, we're going to head down to Braemar now. So this has all been redeveloped. We've got a wharepaku here now. It's bloody freezing. And the water is so cold here. Like super duper cold.
Yeah. Ice bath.
Freezing.
I know you probably don't, but this was a quick hangover cure.
Maybe
Next day when you're not feeling so well,
just come hop in here.
Back,
Oh, perfect.
not hungover anymore.
Yeah. Oh, this is nice.
I've got to use this for one of my paper things.
Yeah. So this is the Tarawera River over here. Oh, yeah.
Nice.
So there's our korero here. So if you guys want to mull around on this side, so you can get a good view.
Wow.
So there's a few tribal stories about how these maunga came about, and but one that I know from Ngāti Awa was that Pūtauaki here was actually betrothed to Tarawera. So there's a maunga just behind it known as Tarawera. Okay. But he kind of fancied Whakari, which is her younger sister, and she's out there. In the times when mountains could move during the night, or there's stories where they had one opportunity to move, and they had to do it before the sun come up. So he was enticed by Whakari out there, because she was steaming hot, literally. Yeah, and he was like, oh, and she was calling him, come here. So he went out there, but he already had a son. See on the left hand side, there's little Pūtauaki. Yeah. And then that's his son there. He started moving. He must have waited for his wife to crash out. He started moving. Little did he know his son had woken up, seen what his dad was doing. Oh, started following him. Yeah. And he turned around, boy, go back to your mum, go back. No, I want to go with you, Dad. So all that bickering and trying to get him away, then the sun started coming up. They were solidified there. I just finished Bachelor's of Māori Performing Arts, and one of my dreams is to kind of create our own style of dance, of kapahaka, and say for our stance, for our tāne, is to stand like our mountain, like Pūtauaki. So each tribe has their different stances and the way they stand. Some are close, some are really bent, some stand tall. So imagine we could stand like that, and our takahia is on this foot because our sun is clung to this leg. Ka pai? And then I wouldn't mind our wahine being bringing on the sexy mai, like whakaari, alluring. Yeah, so when you're on stage, that's that kind of. And this is how we bring our dance back to our environment and give it that tikanga. And then so we'll, us as Rangihouhiri will have our own unique form of kapahaka. Pūtauaki, he ngārara tana kai. This was the place where the bones are. So on one end, in one point in time, there were many tuatara that actually lived on there, and our people actually ate them. Actually, the Tūhoi people, our neighbours, they really revered the tuatara. And tuatara were all over this area, but now they're only found on our little islands. Actually, the Rūrema Islands that we own, we went for a trip there. You guys may have seen the video. That's a special place for us, and we have tuatara on there as well. But that's another saying, he ngārara tana kai, the eater of the lizard, but in reference to these caves with our ancestors' bones, our rangatira's bones are all in there. And that's why you would have heard yesterday with Lane Harvey saying that, and the chief, your fellas rangatira at the time, requesting that place be left alone because it's the place with all our ancestral bones and kai. So in Lane's whakaaro, this is his own personal whakaaro, he does not want any of us to climb up there, but as we are as youngins and haututu and nohi and mischief and just want to know, well, I don't mind if we go and explore that area, because personally I would, but I won't tell Uncle that.
I think he wouldn't mind if we were going there with a purpose and the right karakia, but it's the running up the hill.
The running
with,
up to the top.
Know,
and
1,000 other people.
We did it. Selfie, just that's a famous spot. Another karaua had told me Pūtauaki, auaki, and his thing was an old word for auahi or smoke. So today we say auahi as smoke. There would have been a older kupu that may have said puta auaki, so smokestack, which alludes to the time when that may have been steaming. Yeah?
You're going to point out his missus, or can you see her from here?
No, but
his
she's
ex.
long, flat behind to Tarawera. There was a major eruption, the Tarawera eruption there, some of us would know. Yeah. Probably got brass off at him.
Yeah. Showing him who's hotter.
Yes, who's hotter, yeah. So yeah, Kapu.
Yeah, so the Tarawera eruptions are quite famous because they had the pink terraces over there.
Yeah.
And so like the early tourists used to, want to go to the pink terraces, and they were all destroyed in the eruption. Yeah. So that's where Tūhourangi were living there at the time, eh?
Yep.
Tūhourangi and Rangita, he would have been on the other side. Yeah. But they're taking our land by then, so. Actual. Because if you go up, if you drive up at the back of Rotorua and then you look over Lake Tarawera, you can stop and there's a plaque there with a pātere, and it talks about, as I look over the whakapau korero where Rangitahi lives. It's like in 1889 or something like that. I think that's around when the eruption was, I'm not sure, but the pātere is from there. 1880 something, I think.
My karaua told me a little story about there was a lake at the bottom, I don't know the name of the lake, though, at the bottom of the maunga, and when the people went to go and drain the lake, I don't know what reason, there were tuna in there, but when they fully drained it, there was a giant albino tuna, which they might have thought could have been the Maori of that area. Yeah, and it was quite sad, and they just let these eels just scatter along when they pulled the water, when they pulled the plug out. And that was something that he said was significant, and he remembers when he was a young fella. Yeah. But we know of Te Ao Maori, we have a different view than like Western views, so that's just how things come about. We still very much see ourselves a part of nature and working within. Hence why when we do our pepeha, we talk about these environmental significance to us. We have a maunga that we belong to, an awa, a waka, and then we say our names at the end. So we tell you everything that we come with. Yeah.
You get an A for that, A Shannon.
Come on, that's enough for my korero. If you have any questions,
Have a look around.
yeah, have a look around.
Two songs that we're singing, that one and Karma.
Sheesh. I don't think I've ever seen a view quite like this. Very.
It's around the corner. Oh, alright.
So pretty.
Nice thing.
Yeah.
See why they were O kia ora te whānau, nau mahara mai ki te pātawhito ko Kapu-te-rangi. So we are actually on probably the most oldest, the most ancient pā site or village known as Kapu-te-rangi. This was home of our rangatira named Toi Kairākau, Toi the wood eater, or the vegetarian, or the vegan, that's what they would call them nowadays. Or Toi te huatahi, Toi the only child, or in tūhoi, Toi te hurumanu, so Toi with the feathers, the man. Ka pai? So we are placing Toi around 1150 AD. So if we think of the arrival of the Mataatua waka being around 1350, so we're going back about 200 years. And just for context, Kupe was here 925 AD, so another 200 years or so. So this is the kind of span. Even when Kupe was here, he was met with tangata whenua here. They were a little bit hostile to him. And even when Toi came here to this whenua right here, there were already tangata whenua here that he just amalgamated with. So we are made up of tangata whenua and Polynesian immigrants. So I dubbed the seven waka as the last Polynesian immigration wave. That's just my thought on that. Because there were plenty of waka prior to that, and they all knew about Aotearoa. Everyone in Hawaii knew that this was a place. What were some of the reasons why they would relocate here? Because resources would have been strained on their islands. There could have been wars, population overgrowth. Resources are now diminishing. Someone's got to go. It's going to be you, cuz. All right? Come here. They already knew this place of Maui. They already knew here. Let me tell you a story though about a rangatira that lived here around that time of 1350. His name was Tamaki Hikurangi. Okay? Like Hikurangi in Rarotonga, Hikurangi down there. Tamaki Hikurangi was the rangatira at his time of this pā here. One day from Hawaii, there were two brothers that came here. Hoaki and Taukata were their names. They arrived here looking for their sister, Kanioro. They missed her dearly, so they were in search for her. They knew that she was here. Unfortunately, by the time they got here, their waka was in tatters. Hina ki pakau o te rupe, that was the name of their waka. And Tamaki Hikurangi, like we're standing here now, could see these men down at the beach. Oh, hey, we must have some visitors. So he asked his daughter, darling, can you please go down and fetch our visitors? Hey, because that's how we do it. Hey, and bring them up for a kai. So, brought them up here, probably around where we're sitting, and they shared kai and conversation. Unfortunately, the brothers did not enjoy the food that was being given to them. wasn't that they were ungrateful or they were used to KFC and McDonald's, no. It was because it was very bland. Notice how I said toi kai rākau, the wood eater. So literally, you go into the bush and that's what you're being served. Yep. Stuff like tikoka, hoo-hoo grubs, things like of that nature. Yuck. So what they had on them was a dried powdered form of kumara. Like how we go for road trips and we have those little snack packs in now. Yep, so they had something like that. And they said, "Oh, Chief, do you want to grab us some water? We've got a surprise for you." Now, this was the first time kumara had ever been introduced in this area here. They mixed it with water, creating this paste called kao. They gave this to the rangatira. Upon his first taste, you can just imagine the brain explosion that would have been going on his taste buds. Hey, kama, how can we get this? Hey, well, we can go back to our island, to Hawaii. We know the island where the seed is. Boys, you see that tōtara down there? I need you to make a waka quick fast because I'm going on a haerenga. I'm going to grab our people, the kumara. Ka pai? Yeah. So they fashioned a waka, named it Te Ara Tāwhao, driftwood, because that was what they saw down there. And then they went. One brother stayed here and one brother went with Tamakihukirangi and some of his people. Now they went to a place called Parinuitera. Now there's a Parinuitera in Rarotonga and there's a Parinuitera in Tahiti. I think the place where they went was Tahiti. Just at that time, just while that was happening, there was another rangatira named Irakiwa. Irakiwa had been here before. Actually, he had a toka here. Irakiwa came here with his son, Te Atua. There's a township known as Te Atua. Man, wow. He went back to his island. He lived on an island called Mauke in Rarotonga. He went there, he raised his kids. Te Atua was already an adult, but his other kids were Toroa, Puhi, and Muriwai. He raised his kids and then he said to them, "Hey, I want you guys to relocate our whānau and start a new thing in Aotearoa. I'll give you 3 tohu to know that you're in the right place. There's a cave. When you come into Whakatāne, there's a cave. And then there's a waterfall as well. And then I have a rock named after me. So when you find these 3 landmarks, you know that you're in the place that I want you guys to be." Just so that happened, they fashioned a waka. Before it was known as Mataatua, it was called pōmare. Ka pai? The Tamakihukirangi was over there. There was something about they couldn't bring the kumara seed back on their waka. It was too small. They found out that Toroa and the Mataatua or pōmare was making their way back to this place. So, whatever clever fella would do, "Hey, cuz, can we just jump back on with you? Because we're going that way anyway. Hey, I've got to get this kumara back to my people." "Oh, do you want to be the navigator then? I'll be the captain." "Oh, yeah, my brother's the tohunga of this trip." Come on. So they come through, and then they get to before the Kermit-X, and then they're met with this big whirlpool. And their waka's going like this. And they're in threat of dying. And then there's this big water spout that comes out of the moana. And Toroa sees the face of God in it. And then he calls his waka Mataatua, the face of God. And then they come down here. Before they get to Whakatāne, they circumnavigate this area, but up in Repanga near the Coromandel, they're caught in a great mist. They can't see in front of themselves. They're caught in the storm, and then these 2 birds named Mumuhau and Takereto, they come down, and the waka follows these birds out of the storm into the clearing. So these 2 birds are known as the tieke or saddleback, and very important in our Ngāti Awa history, so much so that they're in all of our artworks. You might see some of the emblems of Ngā Te Awa, even some of our koru patterns that come around like this. They're a representation of these two birds. Ka pai. Then they come here into Whakatāne, and just like a series or a movie, to be continued. We'll finish the story down at the heads. Keep you fellas all in suspense. Eh? Some of these depressions that you see around here are remnants of the village. And then down around the corner where these people come from were some of the kumara pits, and there's still depressions of that. How did this place be called Kapu-te-rangi? Well, Toi, I think because one story that I heard, his wahine played up, and sometimes we might go, oh bloody hell, that's what he did. Oh, Kapu-te-rangi, he swore at the heavens in his frustrations. Toi was a great man. Out here, this is known as Te Moana Nui Toi, that ocean there, Te Moana Nui Toi. He's known all over the place. Even in Samoa, apparently his son Rauru, who we whakapapa to, was half Samoan. He was a big giant fella. The reason why Toi came here was in search of his mokopuna, whātonga. Back in Tahiti, they would have these awesome regattas. And there must have been a wind that blew whātonga off. So Toi was missing his mokopuna and decided to search all of Polynesia. And he come here. Nah, he's not here. But then he turned up. In turn, his mokopuna was looking for him. These are people that knew this place like the sea was the land. There was no interruptions. Yeah. These are the type of people that knew all this information and was just handed down. Waha, generations after generations. So you have your learnings and your learnings from your father, and you give hand that all down to your kids, and then they do the same thing. So these people knew exactly what they were doing. Yeah, it wasn't stumbled across. You might have seen that narrative of that waka, and they're all starving, trying to get. That's a very much a false narrative. These people were already astrologists, science. They already had this knowledge that they came here with, and then they just adapted it to the climate or to the whenua, coming from Pacific to Southern. Yeah, so most of our people were true gardeners as well. They brought all the kind of trees, rako, that they could, and that's how they populated a whenua. Certain things could grow, certain things couldn't. Yeah, we don't really have taro here, but we have kumara, kapai, things like that. Yeah. Just to, while we're here, Whakaari is around this area there. There's some rocks just off Whakaari called Te Paipai o Aotea. And that was a good sign when our people from Hawaii would come in. Choice, we're there. Most of the waka would come through here because it's pretty much like a straight line, say from Rarotonga here. And then they would use Ōhiwa as their place of refuge and to recoup and to get some more resources or whatever they needed. Fill up again, and then hiding all around. Yeah.
And our ruremas are over there?
Yep, and then so over here we have Motohora. Now I do tours on there. I'm not plugging it in, so that's as much as you're going to hear. But that's a chiefly island. And in December when the Pōhutukawa blossoms, that's all Pōhutukawa there, it's a Pōhutukawa forest. So when it blossoms you can just imagine it's, yeah. And in our Polynesian culture, kura or kula, a red is a sign for a chief. So you look at that island, that's fit for me and my family. So whoever was the prominent chief in this area at the time, that's where he could reside. And the mound on the left hand side, there's an ancient pa site there. How ancient? Well, there are rock walls. There are rock walls over there. And there's no other pa site on the mainland with rock walls. The only other thing is back at Tahiti, with Tapu. So it tells us that there was a relationship between too, when the chief wanted something, like some water. And actually on there, we're talking about middens in the van. There's a midden in there. There's no pippies there. No pippies. You can't get pippy there, but there are pippy up in the hills. Yeah. And scientists went to carbon date them 600 years old, those pippy. So, tells you that there was kai being transported over. What the rangatira would do would get 3 of his men to blow a pūtātara when the wind is right. You can kind of feel the wind here. They'd be over there. Whatever that korero conversation was what they needed. Hey, you fellas need to bring the chief some water. Whatever that was. Oh, yep, sweet as. Uber Eats. See, we made it all up before they all had it. Hey, yeah, we put in our orders through the irirangi before anyone else. Okay? So that's that significant. But come around the Rurimas, we own that. That's that video that you guys seen. That's us. And hopefully one day we can exercise our full mana motuhake for that place there. Come around, we started our tour on that end. Yeah, that's whakapau korero. We bring our eyes along the ridge line, come into that pointy tip there.
Yeah.
Yeah, maunga whakamana. That's another one of ours. There used to be a whare tūtaua back in the old days, an ancient kura school for war. So if you wanted to learn how to master weaponry, that's where you would go.
It's called Hikurangi.
Hikurangi?
Hikurangi. Yeah, that was the name of the whare one.
Yeah. Coming around at the back of Pūtauaki, that's Tarawera there. So the story how I was telling you fellas? Yeah. See how close she's just behind us back looking, staring at you. Played up. Yep. And then obviously Pūtauaki and Ngārara Tamakai. The hills come in front of us. This is Awakiri, we were just there having a kai and pulling up. This is called Kiwi Nui. Those hills there, Kiwi Nui. And down here, not here. Oh well, I'll show you guys down. There's a sand spit. Yeah, down there. Ōtāwaha was its name. Apparently, when our children were born, the midwife, it could have been a mid-husband. Sometimes the men delivered the kids too. He would come out, and if it was a boy, he would yell out to the people. I would yell out to you fellas, Kiwi Nui, Kiwi Nui, and then you'd know, our choice, we got another warrior, mean. Come back in. If it was a girl, I'd come out to you fellas and go, Ōtāwaha, oh mean, we got whatever, hey, kapai. And these were some of the practices that our people had. Anyway, I'll stop talking now and I'll just let you fellas soak to them. Okay, cool. Here, Ōpihi Whanaungakore, that is the oldest urupa. That's where all our old tawhito ancestors, like Wairaka, is apparently over there as well. So that's an old burial site, and also our koro maunga Pūtauaki as well.
Yeah, so if we ever put out the karanga for people to come and noho whenua, so to occupy that land, no mai. So I'm part of the group. That's the place where Lane was talking about, how they wanted to build the rest home. Yeah. So I'm part of the group that there was like a roster for like stopping people going there, and because people just take their dogs on there and stuff. So the council put up signs, but yeah, the developer, he's kind of backed off because it was just going to cost him too much money having to deal with us blocking access to the land.
How recent was that?
So that was when I first got here, so like in 2021. Yeah. So it's been going on since then, and that's another one of the court cases that Ngāti is involved in. But the developer asked for an adjournment, and the adjournment was like a year or something. He's trying to get out, but he paid the council $12 million already of 20 something million, and and he wants his money back. Apparently the council have spent it and they don't have the money to give him back. And so that's why there's issues, yeah. But anyways, so if we put out the call, bring a tent, bring a camper van. Hopefully I think under this government it's a bit of a worry that he might come back now and say, oh no, I am going to build on it. But we'll make it really hard. Yeah. But yeah, you can't, if you go, only Tāne are allowed down there, that bit, and you've got to be naked.
Yeah. No clothes.
You got to get your rocks off to go there. Yeah.
Yeah, the highly tapu, highly. Might bring something back on your clothes. There's no washing machine or soap that can get that.
Yeah. So it wasn't that long ago that someone was buried there, eh?
Yeah.
And they went across on the waka and.
So that person obviously had the right whakapapa to do so. To whakapapa to the marae to some other people. Yeah, and there's no headstones or nothing. In the old days, there were no headstones or nothing. We should stop off at Pūtauaki. So just in case, because Makutu and things, the Wairua side was very real. Like even today, we still live with the physical and the Wairua together. But I think they really, really lived it and felt it. So desecration of bodies and things like that were an occurrence for black magic and things like that. So karakia was a powerful tool, but it could be used for good or bad. So that was one thing, one trick to not have any sign of where that person was, so nothing would get taken and used against that whānau. Yeah, so it's pretty heavy. Actual, just Pūtauaki rock is the rock in the middle of our township. I don't know if you guys have been there, but those Pūtauaki trees up top, that's where we used to hang our bodies. So it's actually really a tough place. Like how they made it whakanoa, they put a toilet. The toilet's not there anymore, but there's a memorial waka shelter and a toilet. But where the toilet was this ancient tuahu or altar called Te Makawe o Te Rangi, and that's where our people would do some heavy karakia, because even kai tangata was a little bit of a thing as well. So if anyone go to try to eat your loved one, they'll taste yuck. Because of that karakia. No, I'm just joking. Please make my aunties taste yucky. Yeah, no one will touch her. That's a different thinking back then. This is some of the realities, eh?
Oh, well, you fellas take your photos and that.
Take your photos and we'll go down.
We'll head off shortly
Part
to the heads.
2 will be. So that's Ōpihi Whanaungakore. So no, Whanaungakore means no relatives, but it's meaning that there's no markings of the...
None.
Yeah. And that's why it's overgrown, because it's just left.
Okay.
Yeah. And so that's the space.
Is this the space that Trina was talking about? Someone was trying to develop over here?
Yes, that is the space.
Okay.
Yeah, so there's huge Trina and not the other cousin yesterday. Yeah, they were a part of trying to stop.
Yeah.
And then I think the guy that purchased it, the land developer, he didn't know the significance of that, so he stopped.
Yeah.
But he could easily decide to go in and do it again.
Yeah.
And that's another consequence of land confiscation.
Yeah.
Kia ora anō whānau. This will be our last stop for today. Aware that some of you need to make your way back home. So, part 2 of the story. Where were we? Let's have a recap. So, the Mataatua waka had come out of the storm, led by Mumuhau and Tākeretau. And they found their way here to Whakatāne. We had just driven past the cave, and the Toka is in front of that big mussel boat on the right hand side of me. In front is the Te Toka Erakewa. But unfortunately it's flat. it used to be in the shape of like, maybe like a lion's head from an angle that I saw. But in the early 1800s, the Whakatāne Harbour Board, which is now the District Council, blew up some of our toka to try and create a harbour, because in those times ships had to just anchor out there and little barges would have to go out and bring our wares in. Also in that time, let me say, that our people, the Māori people here were thriving. They had businesses, they had their own boats and schooners, and they were trading vegetables, cabbages, pumpkins, up into the Auckland markets. So that's just for that. Anyway, Wairaka and them come here and they tie the waka to this toka here. This is called Toka Tapu. So Tapu, sacred, Toka rock. So sacred rock. Come on. How the story goes, this is the main version, but then I'll give you my own, not version, the truth after that. No. How the story goes, the men hop off the waka to go and survey the island. But remember, I told you Tamaki Hikirangi was a part of that. Anyway, the men go up and then they leave the woman on board. In those days, it was tapu or sacred for women to do any type of works on the waka. Yeah. So, apparently the waka isn't fastened properly and it starts drifting out back out to the moana there. The woman they're not just going to sit there and float away to their death. Hey, in one version for Ngā Te Awa, it was Wairaka, and remember what age she was from when our first stop? It was her that said, we need to do something. Oh, I'm going to break this tapu. And she said, a karakia cried out to the gods, e kia whakatāne, au I ahau. Yeah. Give me the strength of a man, or let me do this man's work, breaking that tapu. And with that encouragement, she saved her whānau. So without that, we probably wouldn't be here today. And that's why our township is called Whakatāne, to act like a man. On another, our neighbours over the hill in the Pōtiki, they say it was Muriwai that done it. And that could be right too, because Muriwai was a tohunga priestess in her own right.
I object. No.
There we go. Yeah.
No. It's just because no one else is here to do it. So.
Yeah. So and there's other stories that she carried the mauri of Hawaii. That was her job, carrying the essence of Hawaii and planting it into these soils. At the bottom of these hills here was a mass garden called Matirero, and it's behind the two marae that we just drove past. There's a street named it, and that's where the first gardens, apparently the first kumara gardens were in Matirero. On to the left of me, right down the end, we'll probably drive around. Those po, you see the two posts, well, you'll see that they're purple, and they allude to the story I just told you about the arrival of the kumara. You'll see that one carving is facing out to sea and one carving is facing inland. That's telling you that two brothers, one went and one stayed. Yeah. Subsequently, they were instructed to X that other brother that stayed, to enable the mauri of the kumara. That's just one version that I've heard. Yeah, to let his blood spill to allow the mauri of the kumara to flourish in this area. Some other toka. Okay, this one here, where the statue is, that's known as Turuturu Roimata, or Roimata Turuturu, the crying rock. Sometimes on the day when you see the waves smashing up on the rock, the way it cascades down looks like tears. For Ngā Te Awa, it said it's not that toka is important. It's not so much the statue there. So it is believed that when we pass on from here, from this physical realm, we go and sit on that rock and reminisce and look back and say our final farewells to our loved ones before we leave them, our poroporoaki. And then we hop, skip, jump these toka here, and then toka rangaia, toka mauku, toka roa. Yeah. Ka heke ki te au moana. We go under the spiritual portal, and then we pop out up at te pai o Aotea, that rock I showed you. From there, then we make our way back to Hawaii Nui, to our spiritual homeland, and then rejoining with Hine Nui Te Po, our first mother. So that's that statue there. Yep, it is of Wairaka, but it is in memory of a mayor that lost his wife out there. Also significant, I'm not going to discredit that thing. So he created that. This is my story, a memorial for his wife of Wairaka. Come on. And we have plenty of arguments around here about that as well. So there's all different versions, but I told you the truth. Okay? So remember that. Ka pai. Some of these other toka, since we're here, Hine Tuahoanga is the name of this toka on my right here where these kids are going up. Matter of fact, where those kids are, that's where our ancestors would sharpen their tools. You can go down there and you can still see the grooves. I've taken some classes down there. So you picture a communal space where some of us would go and hang out. Oh, we're going to go sharpen tools. Oh, we'll go catch up with the bro down there. Hey, did you hear about blah, blah, blah? Hey, all the gossiping they had going on here. You would have had canoes all spread along here. Long fishy nets. Hey, I'm trying to paint the picture for you what it would have been like. Yeah. Very much alive. Teeming with life. Hey, waka going up and down. Things like that. Yeah.
Nice.
That ka pai. Te Hingarai, that's the toka on this left-hand side, the Hingarai, or they call that Te Paipai o Hawaii as well. Yeah. This land here is called Te Haihainga. Kiri hai is a practice that our women would do when they would lose someone. It was knowing that they would scar themselves. Hai, when our men would come back, and if anyone was lost, then that wahine would mourn for that loss. Okay. It's it's that over there. When this original name here is Ōhinemataroa. Ōhinemataroa was the wife to Te Atua. Te Atua was the older brother of the captain of Mataatua. When she passed away, he named this awa after her, and then he trekked up the river up all the way up to Waimana. So most of these names in Māori were named by him, and he was quite fond of dogs. He had pet kuri, and he would bury them around when they passed, and there's mounds. So that's what happened with that brother. Puhi, the younger brother, he had a raru with his brother. So his brother relinquished his mana on the waka and gave it to him, and then Puhi made his way, because this place was too small for two rangatira, hey? And he was a better cultivator, and he was younger, they reckon more handsomer, all that kind of stuff. So he actually took the people, half of the people with him wanted to go, and then obviously he ended up north and he came up. I don't know, I said that slowly because we had trouble up there with the whakapapa. Hey. You don't really tell people about their own whakapapa, though. You just need to do things. Wairaka, after we heard the story yesterday of that and how she ended up north, and apparently when she came back down, buried there at Ōpihi Whanaungakore, where we were.
So I put live.